Hi everyone, we're Travel with Jonny and Will, and this is our day 2 vlog when we were docked in Palma de Mallorca.
So we're currently on Royal Caribbean's Allure of the Seas for a week round the Western Med, and this is our first port of call.
So for breakfast we decided to check out the main dining room, which is served at Deck 3 in the American Icon Grill. And when you approach, there's two options. There's a la carte breakfast or there's buffet, and there's 2 lines to go. So we went a la carte breakfast and we got seated at a table for 4 as we went with my mum and dad.
Yeah, so here's a look at the menu. What would you choose for your breakfast? So for breakfast, I basically had a little selection of poached eggs, hash brown, bacon, and corned beef hash. And you had a breakfast burrito.
Yeah.
And it was quite interesting the way they had this sort of setup of having the a la carte and the buffet, because it sort of does mean that more people can get nearly like their breakfast at the same time. I wanted some bircher muesli, which wasn't on the main menu, so it meant then I was able to go up then to the buffet as well and get a little sort of glass of that. If there was, again, lots of pastries and that, the waiters will bring round pastries if you ask them to, but again, if you wanted pastries, you could just go up to the buffet and help yourself. So as we're docked in Palma de Mallorca, there are 2 main ports here in the city, and because of the sheer size of this ship, we had to dock in the one furthest away from the city centre. So our original plans of basically coming off the ship through the terminal and getting on the hop-on, hop-off bus were kind of a wee bit scuppered, because we were docked further away and need to then get a shuttle bus into the city centre before we could even have that as an idea or an option. So the cost of the shuttle bus is €15 per person, and then we sort of then made this sort of decision because there was taxi drivers and things there as well that were offering tours from between 2 hours and 4 hours, so we were approached by this lady and we got chatting to her, and we sort of thought that, look, by the time we add up then the €15 each, and then we pay say €30 or more for the hop on hop off, to then have to do the opposite, coming back and wait to get back, on the shuttle to get back to the ship, etc. We sort of thought that this might be a better option, was to go with a taxi tour. And the taxi tour basically for us was €100 per person.
So off we went on the taxi tour with the lady. She took us to this quaint little village called Valdemosa up in the hillside, which I thought was going to be quainter, but it was actually very, very touristy. There was a lot of other groups there. It almost felt like everybody that comes to Palma de Mallorca gets taken here. But even on the way up, it was so beautiful, and she pointed out the almond trees, and it was really a nice journey up there as well. So at this point then, she gave us some free time, and we were off and exploring ourselves.
The population of Valdemosa is roughly 2,000 people. It's been quite stable in recent years. Valdemosa is set in the valley in the Serra de Tramuntana mountain range and is surrounded by a rugged terrain. It lies at an elevation of about 400 to 450 metres above sea level. It is also the birthplace of Mallorca's only saint, Santa Catalina Thomas.
So we would recommend taking some good footwear, because the streets were quite cobbled in certain places and slippy as well from being worn away from all the people walking on them.
So we then made our way down to visit this little church, which was the Church of St. Bartholomew. And it was quite quaint and just sort of tucked away in the hills.
So after this, we just called into a little cafe, and I actually tried the local drink, which is made with almonds, and it was called the Granita.
Yeah, I had a little sip. It was quite nice.
It was really nice. It was like an almond milkshake, and if you like almonds and you like those nuts, then I think you would like it. Yeah, I liked it.
So after that, we made our way back up towards where we got left off in our taxi. We stopped off in a couple of little shops just on the way, just to buy some souvenirs, and there was an alley hop there actually as well, which was quite strange because it was such an old little village, we couldn't resist calling in there as well.
So at this point, we met back up with our taxi, and we made our way down the mountain again, and we stopped at this panoramic sort of photo stop, and it was just sort of really, really, really breathtaking, I think was the only way to put it. Such a beautiful location, and we had such perfect weather to take it all in.
Yeah.
And then after this, we made our way down back to the city of Palma itself, and then the guide drove us round all the little narrow streets that you definitely would not see on a big bus.
I think it was good though from the perspective that I was sort of looking at this tour, which was different than anything. When you go on the city sightseeing hop on hop off buses, which we do like, everything's pre-recorded, and like, you know, there's nothing, you can't really like stop and ask a person a question. Whereas, you know, she was sort of like pointing out like things like, we passed this big prison, we passed like a big building, and I was like, oh, what's this building? And she was like, oh, this is a hospital. And I was asking her then about, you know, the hospitals on the island, because obviously it's not a huge island, and she was able to give information about like their healthcare system and things like that, which I just sort of thought was interesting, as opposed to the normal stuff you hear, which is pre-recorded on a tour bus.
So at this point in the tour, we had come to the main cathedral in Palma, which is called the Cathedral de Mallorca. And basically it was helpful actually, because we've been many times before to Palma, and we've not once went in the cathedral, and that was because we didn't really know how to get into it.
Yeah.
And she pointed out the entrance, which is at the back, and it's part of a museum, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we then queued there. It was €10 entry, or €8 entry if you were 65 and over. So we then entered into the cathedral, and oh my goodness, this is definitely one of the biggest cathedrals we've been in. I don't know about you. What would you say?
No, it was breathtaking. Like the way there was like little like sort of lights up, and the candles that were lit, and like there was quite a lot of people around, but it didn't feel busy, even though it was busy. But there is a little short, like small museum just before you go into the main cathedral. But just whenever you walk in, it was kind of just like wow, because obviously there's different chapels as you sort of go round. But yeah, like we were in there a good wee while, just sort of like spending time and just having a look around all the different chapels and things like that. But it's well worth a visit. And for €10, it wasn't going to, like, it didn't break the bank. And we're actually really glad that we actually went into it this time, because as well as we've been here many times and haven't even been able to work out how to get in.
Yeah.
So, but actually before we went in, the taxi driver drove like right round the outside of the
Like in the narrow streets you could think of, basically.
Yeah, and basically it's only really taxis that are allowed sort of round those sort of streets, because it's mainly pedestrianised. But again, it was great and really suitable that, you know, if maybe for example you were somebody with limited mobility, you know, she was able to park then quite close, you know, to where she dropped us off, and we only had a short distance then to walk and down a few steps in to get back to where our pickup point was. So after we visited the cathedral, we then made our way back to the taxi, and on our way then back to the ship, she drove round some of the big sort of shopping areas of Palma, where all the sort of big designer brands are. And then she came sort of down along the coastal route and headed back then to our cruise terminal. Now, we're kind of a bit torn as to what we sort of thought and how we felt about the overall experience of the tour, and this is the main reason. The lady's English wasn't superb. So in order for her to share the information that she wanted to share about Palma and about the island and Valdemosa to us, she spoke in Spanish, and she used Google Translate in the car to then interpret her Spanish to then relay it to us in English. Now, I like this because I would prefer that than her trying to struggle to speak English and me not understand a word of her, and her struggling to speak our language, because we don't really speak any Spanish. However, Will has a different...
Yeah, I would have just preferred someone who could speak better English. I mean, yes, I understand she's Spanish, she's living in Spain, but she's actively seeking out English tourists to take on a Spanish tour, whilst not having a fully comprehensive grasp on English. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'll put it out there.
Yeah. So, I don't know, like I say, we're really torn about it. I enjoyed the tour, and I'm glad that she did use the Google, because otherwise I wouldn't have had a clue what she was trying to tell us at times. But you would have rather just someone who spoke better English. But look, we were out for, 3.5 hours? roughly. Yeah, about 3.5 hours, and it was an enjoyable morning out. And again, the big perk of it for me was the fact that if we had did what we had planned to do, it would have been a bus from the ship to Palma city centre, then have to stand in another queue waiting on the hop on hop off bus. Then it was to do the tour, and because Palma was so busy with the size of this ship and the fact that it is still quite like a holiday season here for tourists to come and visit, we probably would have struggled to get seats on the tour buses and things like that. And then we would have to do the return then as well, where we'd have to stand, queue for then a shuttle bus back to the ship.
I agree.
So
it was very convenient to be picked up at the port and left back to the port. Yeah, there was just a little bit of a queue to get back onto the ship, but it all passed through very, very quickly. And then when we got back on board, we were sort of torn whether to go up to the Windjammer, because we thought everybody's going to go to the Windjammer. So we actually ended up just going to Cafe Promenade. And I think this was the better decision, because it was very quiet in the Royal Promenade, and the cafe itself was quite quiet. We didn't have to wait at all. So within Cafe Promenade, the options for food are filled rolls, there's little desserts, there's cookies. Is there anything else?
No, just like filled rolls. Oh, salads. There was like salads, yeah.
And then there's a drink station as well, where you can fill up water. There might be iced tea or like a lemon water, and then like hot drinks as well.
So after our snack, we headed back to the cabin just for some downtime to relax and chill before our nighttime activities. We watched the sail away then from Mallorca from our balcony, and then as it was dressed your best night, we decided then to get ready then for our dinner. So tonight's meal, we have been shifted down to Deck 3 to the American Icon Grill. For those of you who watched our previous vlog, you'll already know that my time dining isn't really my time. So basically, we had asked for just to be added to the early seating at 5:30, and they have moved us then to 2 tables because we're a party of 6 down to the Deck 3 American Icon Grill.
So here is a look at tonight's menu. Let us know in the comments below what you would like to try. So to start, I had the little onion tart, and for me and I had the cheese tortellini, and then for my dessert I had the baked Alaska. And all of that food was really good. I have no complaints about the food at all. What did you have?
So I had the French onion soup to begin with, which was really, really nice. There was so much of it though I couldn't even finish it all. And then for my main, I just had grilled chicken, which came with some lovely steamed vegetables and a like roasted potatoes, and it was really, really nice. And for my dessert then, I had the warm chocolate cake.
Yeah, so in terms of service on this night, it really wasn't the best.
No.
I think issues with us moving from Deck 5 down to Deck 3 to the American Icon Grill, they just didn't seem to have things organised. So with my mum, on day 1, she pre-ordered all of the gluten-free food that she wanted. So they already had her order done for this night, day 2, and actually she was the last to receive the dinner.
We were nearly finished our meal.
Well, I'd totally finished my tortellini, and then she got her dinner. So that wasn't great.
No. It was a long wait. And then it sort of like upset your mum because, you know, we then sort of couldn't go on to the next course before, you know, while she was still eating. So she felt under pressure to like eat quicker. So we did actually sort of say to the head waiter, look, you know, he was very apologetic and things, and that's okay in saying that. But I just sort of think, look, if you're a head waiter in a restaurant, you don't serve 5 people and leave one person sitting there with nothing. You know, I would just have held everybody else's back, and I just said that to the guys, is look, in future, please, if the food is not ready for Gwenda, then don't serve us. Just wait and bring out all main courses, which to me is logical. Do you know what I mean? And he just apologised and agreed, and just, you know, they did give your mum a complimentary glass of champagne, which was nice.
Well, it probably was Prosecco.
Well, but the thought was there.
Yeah, the thought was there. And then our desserts were sitting, waiting, because we could see them. And then it meant that those were slightly melted for the ones that got the baked Alaska. So it it wasn't the best experience.
No. So, look, here's hoping things will improve as we like motor on with the cruise. So the one thing we did actually enjoy during our meal, which was nothing to do with actually the food or the service, was actually the Caraco Cosmos, which were listed in the menu as the specialty cocktail of the day for that restaurant. And we enjoyed them quite a bit actually, because we had about 3 each during our meal. Yeah, they were really nice. So if you do get the chance and you're on board, check out the Caraco Cosmos.
So after dinner, we met up with everybody again at the schooner bar, and we thought that both my mum and dad and your mum and aunt would be able to handle just getting here. We'd give them detailed descriptions. Didn't really happen. They both sort of got slightly lost.
No, well, my mum and aunt didn't get lost. They just didn't realise they were late because they thought we were meeting them at 8:30.
Yeah.
So maybe they're hard of hearing, but we said 8 o'clock, and my mum and aunt arrives nearly at like 8:30. They're like, oh, we were watching TV for half an hour. I'm like, oh well, bully for you. But we had a drink while we were waiting anyway, and then we headed down to Studio B for this evening's ice show, which is Blades the Playlist.
And we would recommend not going via the casino. Go via the stairs that's closest to the door for Studio B, because trying to get through the casino to get to it was a little bit awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah.
The so Studio B itself actually is a really nice venue. Obviously it has like the ice rink, and then it has sort of tiered seating around. The seating was very comfortable, and at the top of the front tier, the middle tier, there is little parking spaces for people in wheelchairs, and then seats for their companions to sit on. The doors open normally about 40 to 45 minutes before the show, and there are staff in there that you can call a waiter over to get a drink to your seat delivered. And outside Studio B, there's a little kiosk as well that has drinks and popcorn. So we actually enjoyed some popcorn during the show.
Yeah, we had some popcorn, and there's a bar inside as well, which you said, right?
And the popcorn was priced at $3?
$3 something.
Yeah.
Maybe $3.40.
Oh, that's a random number.
It was something like that.
We'll put the exact price on the screen.
So here is a brief look at the show.
That's why the lady is a tramp.
It's just the way you make me feel.
So for those that follow our channel, you'll know that we love an ice show, and in fact we go to like Blackpool most years to see the show at the Pleasure Beach. What did you think of this one compared to some of those?
Yeah, I was really impressed how they utilised the little space that they had, because it was a very small ice pad, and I thought the stuff that they'd done on it was very innovative, honestly. Like, there was a girl with hoops, so she was skating and she was doing like hoops, and the way they had done the playlist, and you set it out and each different member was playing a song on their headphones. I thought that was very clever, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It was like the skaters are really talented, you know, and like there was a guy that was like doing break dancing and everything as well on the ice. It was a really enjoyable show, and it lasts about 15 minutes.
So after this, we went up to the Royal Promenade. We wanted to take a little juke into the shops now that the ship was at sea and the shops were opened, and we purchased the Allure of the Seas ship model, and we also, you got some shorts or something, did you?
Yeah, I bought Royal Caribbean shorts, and a few other wee knickknacks for our giveaway that we do after we come back from our cruise holidays. So shopping in hand, we then decided to go for a walk, and on deck 5, sort of next to the entrance where the Amber Theatre is, you can go out onto like a track which goes the whole way around the ship, and one side of it is for walking, one side is for running. It does say you should only go one way, so actually what was quite cool about this was that if you're going the wrong way, you'll see signs above your head that will say turn around.
Turn around, you're going the wrong way.
Yeah, but one of the things we sort of liked about this was we walked into the back of the ship to get these beautiful like aft wake views at night time, and I don't know whether it was like beautiful. Well, it was beautiful, but it was also a wee bit scary because it was very dark out there and we were at sea. But one of the cool things was that it sort of goes around the back of the Aqua Theatre, so the curtains then were open in the windows, so we could see through the windows into the Aqua Theatre and the stage. And the little backstage part of the Aqua Theatre where like the divers and things sort of get ready and do their costume changes
And where
and stuff.
the swimmers and performers come up out of the water, like
Yeah.
so when they dive in, you can't see them come out again because they swim across and then up, and those parts were like
Tiny.
it was tiny, yeah.
So that was quite nifty to see, and then we made our way back inside, and we decided we would head then to Sorrento. Sorry, no, we didn't go to Sorrento's first. We then went to look at our photos at the little photo gallery place, and it's all on tablets, and you scan your C-Pass, and you then have access to the photos that photographers have taken. We did make a purchase of the one of you and your
Oh,
parents.
that's right, we need to collect that.
And note to self. And then we decided then to go to Sorrento's for some pizza before calling it a night.
Well, we did go to Sorrento's, like 2 barbecue chicken slices and 2 pepperoni, and then we actually ended up going to, what's the TV show?
On Air.
On Air, that one, yeah, where they have game shows and stuff. And one of the waitresses in there was very, very nice, and she made us the Caraco Cosmos,
Yeah.
the blue one that we were having earlier at dinner. And oh my gosh, she made them so much nicer.
Yeah. She
They were
said they
so
were nicer.
sweet.
She said they were nicer because she made them with love.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
But-
she was really lovely.
Yeah.
That's true.
But we did have like another 3 or 4 of those
Yeah.
at that point. So where we thought we were going to call it a night earlier, we didn't.
Because then there was a party going on in the Royal Promenade. There seems to be this endless amount of parties and activities
On
that
the
go
Royal
on within
Promenade.
the Royal Promenade, which is good to see. But sometimes it can be a little bit awkward if people are trying to get through.
Yeah.
Like if we were sending your mum down there because she only knew one way to
She'd
get
be just
through.
coming along in the scooter,
Yeah.
tooting the horn and
Yeah.
flashing the lights at people.
But it is really nice to see that space so well used.
And tonight's actually party was one hit wonders. So there was quite like, we had like Barbie Girl and there was Bewitched and there was like a lot of good tunes.
Yeah.
So after our few drinks, we really did then call it a night. A bit later than originally planned, but yeah, sure, we're on holiday.
So that completes our day 2 on board Allure of the Seas. If you've liked this video, please consider giving us a thumbs up down below and click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.